Cynthia Gangas soprano. Cynthia sings classical. So I have been off for about a week and a half doing a lot of homework. So I have diplomas to write in about a month. 5 weeks. Have to get prepared for those, so probably won't be practicing a lot. Today is a Saturday. It is March 18th at 1 p.m. I just came off of a call with Don Greene, who is a sports psychologist, a performance psychologist. Used to work with the U.S. Olympic team, and I now am taking classes from him about performance mastery. So being able to work, even though I have a super stressed position, and being able to perform to the best of my ability, no matter what the stress. So, I mean, I did that on the internal with Lumpa for 18 years, pushed through a lot of samatha. Samatha meditation is what Lumpa taught in the Theravada tradition. When people say that they're studying Vipassana, they're not. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. It would be like having a child at 5 years old given surgical tools and have a patient unconscious, intubated, to be able to do a lung heart transplant surgery. That's the equivalent of you going and studying Vipassana. One, very few people, very few monks ever study Vipassana authentically. Two, the only way to get to Vipassana is to study samatha. That is how it actually works in the mind, in the psyche, in the tradition of actually practicing meditation. So people who are saying that they are studying Vipassana, they're not. They literally are going to hallucinate because you can't do it with the mind power that you have. Samatha is calm, abiding meditation. It means that it calms your mind down so that it doesn't talk to itself. It doesn't have little monkeys running around. It doesn't have a circus in there. And you're able to control your mind. At that point, Vipassana is automatic. It happens automatically. It's not something that you train. It's something that you grow to. So if you want to be a cardiothoracic surgeon, cardiothoracic transplant surgeon for heart and lung, pulmonary heart and lung transplants, and be 5 years old and do surgery, that's what you're doing when you study Vipassana just right off the bat. It's fucking stupid. It doesn't work. It's not a real thing. But people don't care because Westerners seem to not. The thing about Westerners is that they don't make any fucking sense when they study Eastern things. They're like, I can buy this. I can spend $10,000 on a course to study meditation. No. If you are paying for meditation, you are looking to be hurt. Because people who are good, monks who are good, know that when they train you to do something, that they have an obligation not to charge money. And so I never spent money with Lumpa. I probably donated maybe $40 to $50 over the past 18 years to make sure that everything keeps going so that Lumpa can teach even though he's passed away, but through the Willpower Institute. The reason why I'm saying that is because part of that learning peak performance, there's a cat, that is Loki. He lives with me, and that's why I look sort of dead with like the bags under my eyes, and I look friggin' sick because I'm deathly allergic to him. But my roommate is in Grand Prairie right now, so I'm taking care of the cat. She's going to come home today, which is very nice. Oh, look, a cat butt. I say this because peak performance training is about putting yourself through stress. It's about knowing and adapting to purposeful stress. Learning samatha is working through how your mind has learned other past situations so that you can move forward without those learned mental habits. And a lot of people in meditation are like, I'm going to get rich. Well, you already are rich because actual samatha meditation is built and permanent once you get to the authoritative mind power. But people are like, I'm going to sell something like Jay Shetty. Jay Shetty so didn't study with an authentic monk because he's now fucking charging money for his meditation, which is not authentic. He's a shithead because you don't do that. And obviously, if someone doesn't understand that they studied with someone who was inauthentic. Because if you studied with someone that was authentic, they would say, you're not ready to teach until you can do what I can do. I am not ready to teach. Lumpa studied for 80 years and practiced and taught for about 70 of those. And I'm not at that point. So, yeah, I'm willing to learn from Don because Don is not. I mean, he's a little bit too psychology, which is Western psychology doesn't actually have anything to do with the mind or psyche. It's some bullshit, like the Freudian bullshit, the Jungian bullshit. It's some bullshit. But yeah, I mean, teaching that to someone who's 80 is not gonna. I remember when Van was doing that. So I've studied trading for a long time. While I'm not trading right now, the markets have crashed for the banks, and I guess I could have taken a short position or taken a sold calls probably on the Silicon Valley Bank, but I haven't been in the market since like 2009, since the rape, right? Because there's no point in being in the market when you know that you have to recover from something. That's not wise. So Ivan was always talking about how like he would spend money on gurus, and I was like, oh, so you're just a shyster, and you're being taught by shysters, because that is not how authentic meditation is taught, or authentic becoming more aware of your actual surroundings. I find it very fascinating how Westerners think that you can just buy things and everything is fine. Oh, look at that. Well, don't do that. Yeah, now he's gonna go away all shamed. He's a Siamese, and he's really quiet actually. That was the first time that I've heard him be loud today. So I'm hoping that this mic works. This is my Yeti, and I bought it, wow, like 4 or 5 years ago, I think. It was before Connor died. Yeah, today is the anniversary of, it's not the anniversary of his death, it's just, I was posting about his death maybe 2.5 years ago, I guess. So I shared some of those today, and how sad it is. And how, as a human being, that's never something that you should ever get over. Some people are like, oh, you should just go to grief counseling. So the Jewish Community Center, Jewish Counseling Foundation or something, has this course online for $50 to teach people about grief and help them. And I was like, you're shysters. Like, that's not okay. You can't teach someone or help them with an authentic online program. If it's not in person with a registered psychologist, it's some bullshit. Like, it actually is some bullshit. It is not appropriate to do that. Get down. You're gonna see the butt soon because the cat's gonna walk in front of the camera. So we're gonna do some scales. I'm gonna do Hanon first. I like Hanon. It kind of warms up my fingers. It's been a long time since I've practiced, so like a week and a half, I think, maybe 2 weeks. So my hands are gonna be kind of sore, so I'm just gonna take it really easy. I'm gonna do about an hour, very slowly, just kind of getting back into it. And then the leading tone, diminished sevenths, and the whatever the other one is, don't jump up there. So I love root beer, and I have in my kitchen, I have a whole bunch of root beer bottles. I remember one of my stupid staff who got her ass fired because she was never fucking doing her job. And her job was like nothing. She like had to bill like 7 people a day. She'd fuck that up. Then she would mouth off to the owners. And I mean, it wasn't my business, but she'd mouth off to the owners. And then she wouldn't talk to anybody because she was Mexican. And she spoke English okay. I mean, not great, but like she spoke English. And then she would yell and be miserable to our office manager because she didn't get paid enough. But like she wouldn't empty the garbages. She wouldn't clean the tables. She wouldn't do any part of her job properly. And the billing was always wrong. And she was there for like 3 years. Anyway, when she got fired, I was laughing at her because I was like, the basic minimum is why you get paid. If you do more than the basic minimum, which are pretty easy tasks, then you'll get promoted and then you get paid more. If you don't do the basic minimum, why are you even there? Why are you just so lazy? Like, while I hate being underpaid, I still do what I'm expected to do. Like, I don't understand. Anyway, we're going to do this very slowly, some Hanon, because my hands get very sore. I will come back to do some Vakai today. I have about 7 hours of hardcore just sitting and studying. I don't have a tripod-y thing to be able to videotape me to look at what it actually means to study properly. But I'm going to see if I can use my Apple phone to document that process in a way that maybe it'll sit somewhere else, maybe like on the shelf that's beside my kitchen table. We'll see. We will see. Again, this is just documenting 10,000 hours towards proficiency because that is what it takes. It takes more than that. I've probably studied 30 to 40,000 hours of meditation, and I'm extraordinarily good at making sure that my mind is not upset about the rape history. And the experiences that I've had from terrible medical care. Does that mean that I'm very nice? No, it doesn't. It means I hate people. And that's also okay. Because when people don't do the right thing, they should not have jobs. Oh, bad staff. Oh, how I hate you, lazy staff. Okay. Cynthia. So oh, stupid Harry. He's funny. He makes me laugh because he's an idiot. sometimes it doesn't pick up on the microphone on there, so I'm hoping that this one sounds like the mic works better. Okay. Oh, I'm so allergic to everything. I don't hate the cat. I hate the fact that I'm allergic to the cat, and I hate the fact that if I take anti-allergy medication, it just makes my throat dry, and it makes my whole body dry, and it's not good. I mean, you can't take that much, like Dristan, like Benadryl, that kind of stuff, because it's not healthy for your body. Anywho, yeah, gotta get rid of this cat. Roommate will be here until the end of May. Let's see. Figures to be trained. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. So I was thinking about like how most people can't emote and most people can't use their actual whole brains. And then how psychiatrists, especially in nursing like nursing students or whatever the fuck they are, they're not real nurses. They're definitely not RNs. How they will tell you to not think about the past when the past has brutally affected you. Because they in their brains think that they're not affected by emotional and physical harm. and that they can just move on without dealing with the past harm. And that is very false. That is a very false, let's continue the harm to go on without facing it. I think that's a very Western thing. I think it's a very capitalist thing, because if harm is done to you, people should be criminalized for that, right? Like, people need to spend time in prison. I think there's a wokest part of it where people who are stupid, who believe in forgiveness instead of punishment, will say that, you should forgive and forget, which is it's a Judeo-Christian bullshit thing, but it's also a capitalist thing, because if we actually had to hold people responsible for their actions financially, most companies would go bankrupt. And so as a group, we have to agree to not fix the past. Because if we fix the past, then people who had been physically, sexually, emotionally, spiritually abused would actually have reparations of finances. And that obviously is the only goal for only certain people to make money, and to make money through harm. The reason why I say that is because the Jesuits of Canada recently released, I think it was last Monday, the list that they have kept since the 1960s of the men within their priesthood who were accused of raping children. 1960s. My father was born in 1944, I believe. So, that's some fucking bullshit. Some motherfucking bullshit. That's not okay. You can't do that. You can't just keep a list of rapists and then not tell the RCMP, the police, and then not be sued to complete bankruptcy. Like, they need to take out loans against their churches, against I don't even know what runs the Jesuits. I don't know if they're part of the Catholic Church. I don't give a fuck. But you can't keep a list of rapists and then not be sued. Like, that's how it works. You can't do that. Anyway, it's not funny in like a I'm laughing at men, especially who were brutalized, natives especially, who were brutalized by these men. I'm laughing at the absurdity that their Christian psychobabble or imaginary God in the sky can make them not culpable for crimes of having a list of people that they knew were raping and not be held responsible for it. Yeah. Because, I mean, like, there's so many sides to it, right? Because when Evelyn got her settlement for like $50,000 or something for the residential schools for Wood Buffalo, for having been in residential schools in Alberta, the residential school was actually right off of White Ave, where the Tops liquor store is, right across from the Mormon temple, or like the Mormon churchy thing. Right across there, that building where the parking is, like the parking is angled, that was a residential school. She lived there. And when she got her settlement, she gave Randall the money to buy a truck, because that's native. You buy a truck when you get your 18-year-old payment. I don't know if that happens now. I think there are some people that are going to school. I mean, like, why would you go to school if you're participating in a culture of oppression, right? But, I mean, he lied about the fact that the money was from his mom. He said that he had been up in Fort Mac working, which turned out to be a lie, because when he actually got his electrical, he never left the city, because Callie was like 9 months when he started on his electrical, and Mr. Zakuski paid for all of his courses at NAIT, which are like $1,000. They're not expensive at all to do your first, second, third, fourth year to get your journeyman's. He was just a lazy fuck. And I'm saying that because he is native, and that happens a lot with white perceived natives, to milk the system because they are used to milking as a culture, and blaming everything on residential schools. But he didn't fucking go to a residential school. His mom did. And then instead of using the money herself, she gave him like $30,000 to buy a new truck. which I think is actually very normal for people that have been through extreme trauma. Because I know that I don't handle money well. When I get money, it was always bought as a silence for me. Like, we will give you money if you're silent about abuse. If you talk about abuse, we will not help to fund school. We will not help you to be able to do anything. Like, that's very much the government's position in the 90s. And because I've been doing this for 30 years now, I first disclosed at 11, so it will be 32 years. That, like, I get how Evelyn had a hard time with the money portion of being rewarded with money after being tortured. That actually is pretty sick. Those people who tortured her should have been put in prison. But I mean, natives weren't considered people until 1960. They weren't given the vote. They weren't actually considered people until later than that. So that's pretty fucked up. Yeah. Randall's such a shithead. Anyway, I'm still dealing with his bullshit. 15 years later? Motherfucker. So sad. So sad that I have my life wrecked by a rapist. And that he doesn't go to prison. And that he gets held up by fucking Rachel Notley for getting $35 million fucking dollars as the poster child for native rights, installing solar panels in Alberta. It was really funny. So he installed a solar panel on his mom's house, and then his mom's house burned down. And they did a GoFundMe, of course, because they're always grifting. Like, Cindy's husband makes a lot of money. He's a grader or whatever, drives a big fucking truck in Fort Mac. So they posted it that they were going to fundraise for her. Well, I mean, Cindy and her husband could have just fucking bought her a new house. Like, built a new house for her. There's no problem. But instead of doing that and actually being authentic about it, the pictures had no solar panels on that building. So how do you bill the government for solar panels through solar initiatives, some kind of garbage funding that would have happened in 2006 when I was working for the company and building it, which was at that time Get Off the Grid, and then you don't actually have solar panels on the fucking house when that fucking house burns down. Did you burn down the house? You probably did, because that's the type of people that you are. Yeah, I didn't understand what being in a native family was going to be like and how much damage that fucking does to your life. Like, even 15 years, 15 years in the future, it still sickens me, the lack of ethics that family has. I don't feel sorry for people's houses that burn down and then they ask for GoFundMes to build a new house when your family can fucking afford it. Like, you could fucking afford it. You have, like, 2 properties in Fort Mac. You make $200,000. You can fucking buy her a new house. Why are you having a GoFundMe? And Randall supposedly still runs the company that I built from insolvency to like $6 million within 5 years. So when you pretend that you don't have money and you do a GoFundMe, you can fuck all the way off. That is not okay. Yeah. Nope. Don't beg for money. I fucking hate people that beg for money. If you're not actually producing anything that's valuable, you won't get paid. And I mean, I think that that's kind of sad because a lot of shit on the internet is not valuable. It is so not fucking valuable at all, but people get paid by algorithms to sell garbage. I don't know, like the Kardashians. There was a girl, and I think I've told you this story before, but she was working for me. And at the clinic that I was working at and not getting paid properly. And she was telling me that Kim Kardashian had passed the bar. I was like, it's a fucking baby bar. It's like the LSAT, except it's in California so that you can then apprentice with your father who got off OJ for killing his wife. And made a fucking shitstorm of nonsense because he's not a legit person. That you didn't pass the bar to practice law. You passed third chance to pass the LSAT, which is a baby bar, to then do actual work for 3 to 4 years under a good lawyer. Because I don't think that you're allowed to study under your own father who got off OJ. I think that would be kind of like coercive and too close to actually. So she'd have to find an actual like law article, like to article in law for 4 fucking years. Like, That woman has no work ethic. What the fuck would she do? Like, just do porn and then sell it as legal advice? Like, I don't know. It disgusts me. It disgusts me. That young women have no concept of work ethic. Like, none. No fucking concept. And, the fact that someone would say they passed the bar when they passed the fucking baby bar in California, there's a huge difference between able to practice law and going to actual do articling when you only just sell makeup and porn. That's actually not law. No, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah, people are so fucking stupid. Especially the internet. The internet is fucking stupid. I'm on the internet. I'm trying not to be stupid, but I just get really mad at people. Good job. That was hard because it's like my left hand doesn't like to move as fast because it's used to playing plunky chords. I still have that. So I always feel coffee when like to cough, not to drink coffee. I don't like coffee. I am like a 12-year-old. I like to only drink sugar. Yeah, I know. And then fat fucking Karen, she was like, well, you drink like a 13-year-old. I was like, what kind of white trash are you that you're drinking at 13? Like, you're gross. I don't have time for that. Like, yes, we used to drink alcohol at like Christmas dinners because we're not trash, but like, who goes out and drinks at 13? Like, unless you're like native shit or like from New Brunswick and don't have a real family that actually takes care of you. Like, that's not healthy. Anyway, like 16, yes. Okay. Until you're like 22. I remember one of the physios, like, she would get drunk, absolutely fucking shit-faced every weekend. And she was trying to, like, tell herself that she was cooler than me. I mean, she was obese, obviously. That's a very common factor. But it's like, you're 27 to, I think I worked with her until she was 32. Shit-faced fucking drunk every weekend. And I was like, how do any of your colleagues respect you? Like, that's pathetic. Like, yeah, you get drunk to puking level at 21, 22, first, second year of college. And then that's not interesting because it's stupid. Why do you keep doing that? No. Yeah. My left hand does not work as fast as my right hand. The investment that I made in Florida should be sending me money by the end of the month. And then they should be paid up by June. So that will hopefully be good. Oh, there's a cat. Look, there's a cat. Cat. Ridiculous. Okay. because sometimes I think that it's the idea that my hand can't move as fast as my other hand. And there's a connection that learned behavior of mostly playing chords when I was younger has to be rewritten on a neuroplastic level, on a kinesthetic level. Yeah, and that's hard. It's very hard to get your body to coordinate. So there have been 8 murders, including 2 murders of cops, within the past 13 days in this piece of shit city. This is not a place safe. This is not a safe place. Do not move here. Most of the Ukrainians who have moved here are underemployed. They are purposefully being put into underemployment by a woman named Sherry Montgomery. I think that's her name. She is in charge of helping volunteers to help Ukrainians. The thing is that most people don't have hearts or souls here. They will charge money to people who are leaving wars, and that's some bullshit. If you have to have 3 jobs to be able to pay bills, you're being underemployed, because a lot of these people from the Ukraine have master's degrees from real schools that actually make you work for your degree. Kyiv is a hard school. People don't understand that about Canada. Like, literally anyone can pass school if you just go to school. You don't even have to, like, submit assignments anymore. Some of the bullshit that people are handing in to my friends that are teachers, I'm like, how does that even know that you've mastered the concept? You don't even know what the fuck you're writing. It's like a motherfucking stupid art project that doesn't even look like art, that's supposed to say that you understand, like, math. Why are you doing that? Why do you not know math? Yeah. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating how dangerous this place is, and how everybody's just like, let's go watch the Oilers lose all the fucking time. Because I don't think they've won since 2006 when I was in Thailand. And the only thing that I heard in Thailand was, Cynthia, you Edmonton. Yes, what are you talking about? Oh, White Ave dangerous? Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stabbings there. There's a lot of drunk white males that will hurt you as a female. Like, they will attack you. Oh, Cynthia, you not go there. What do you mean? And then they were talking about the fucking riot, that, like, people were burning shit because they won, I think. I don't even know if they won. I don't even care. But it's such white trash. Like, it's such a dangerous place to live. And it is not just people involved in drugs anymore. It is random strangers now. Like, it is not just gangs. It is fucking random strangers that they are targeting. The gangs are targeting. Like, it's fucking Gotham. I hate living here. I have to relocate because it's not reasonable to buy a house for $500,000 in fucking Gotham. And, I mean, the houses in my neighborhood are in the $600,000 range for a basic fucking bungalow, which is not reasonable. There's no reason to have that expensive of property in a shithole. 8 murders in the past 13 days, including 2 cops. That's sick, man. Sick fucking place. Gotta relocate. So I was watching the obviously France, right? Like, when does France not strike? But the garbage, I remember when I was in Barcelona in 2014 and 15, there was a huge workers' strike. And so there was just garbage every fucking place all the time. It was absolutely disgusting. It smelled disgusting. And the outside of the stores would use Le Vie Belle, I think, the perfume, but it was like a room deodorizer version of the perfume to make the garbage smell not smell terrible. And so every time you walked around in Barcelona, it was a smell of like rotted, disgusting garbage plus Le Vie Belle. I think that's what it was. The perfume, the air, like the malls would spray this perfume everywhere. Yeah, I find it funny because it's like, yeah. France is about themselves. Like, people in France, they will not quit their job. They will wait until they get fired at their job, because then you have a year of severance at 80% or something. It's boggling, like, the manipulation of, yeah, and it's so gross. Like, living in Paris used to be beautiful. It really did. Like, 2000 to 2006, I was there. Not like I wasn't living there full time, but I would visit. And now, oh my god, like, it just, yeah. I mean, as much as people think that refugees actually give a fuck about our culture, they don't. Most of them don't. Most of them will keep their bullshit and keep their Muslim bullshit and keep their Chinese bullshit, and then they will fuck around other people. And that is the culture. It's not just because it's money hungry. It's because when people don't adapt to, like, actual care and compassion, the bullshit that happens in their own countries is something that they both are fearful of and keep continuing. I have seen Muslim girls within the especially Afghani community, and when the hardcore, like, redneck Lebanese community be married off at like 14, 15, 16, 17. And they just send them back to Lebanon. And then they are house mouses for the rest of their lives until they realize that they don't have to do that, or they're killed. It's a really, really, really sick culture. I was talking to an East Indian friend. She's not really East Indian, but she looks and passes as East Indian. I would say she's like maybe a quarter East Indian and 3/4 white. But I was talking about, like, the femicide of East Indian culture, and especially because yogis, SUV yogis, seem to think that East Indian culture is healthy, and that going and paying for yoga from a guru is a smart idea, and that they'll be treated with respect. And I was like, you're probably more likely to be murdered and raped in India than in the fucking shithole of the Edmonton. Because Indian men are scary motherfuckers. Like, in most of those cities, they will violate you, and you don't have any rights with police in India. And she was, like, really talking about how, like, Indian she was and how she respected her culture. And I was like, I might be East Indian, but, like, I'm West Indian, but I don't respect the culture down there. It's extremely violent towards women. And it's not safe at all. Like, it's not even safe for me to walk in Trinidad by myself anymore. As a kid, my parents would never let me go down to the beach by myself. They would always walk with me, but there was never someone creepy. Ever. And now, like, I can't walk there without literally being accosted. And not verbally accosted. Like, people will fucking try to steal you, rape you, and murder you. That's, excuse me, don't use your claws. Yeah. So that's some bullshit. Yeah. No, India's not a safe place for women either. Like, you're such bullshit if you think it is. Such bullshit. Let's play some 8. 1.5 scale. Okay. So, that fucker, Dr. Adam Lines, who is a chiropractor in the North End, would have had to look up my middle name. And I don't know how, I mean, other than Google, but like, why would you fucking contact someone 19 years after you tried to cheat on your wife with me after you got married, went to your honeymoon? What kind of fuckery is that? Fuck off. You're sick. You are a sick motherfucking bastard. Who does that? Like, why? Oh, people are so gross. Like, why do you think you're going to come into my life and fuck up my life? You fucked up your wife's life. You had kids and you lied to her. And, like, why are you sick? Like, why are you such a demented human being that you think that I'm going to let you in my life fucking up my life? No. No. And it is so hard to find men that give a motherfucking shit about what I value. I have had so many times where I literally am now going to start sending bills to men who take me on dates and then use it as a reason to think that I'm their fucking counselor for 2 hours and bitch and complain about their lives. Because their lives are not good, because they're not putting any effort in. And they don't care about their emotional state. They care about they're rich and they're making money. Trust me, motherfucker, you ain't rich. Ain't rich. Met some of the richest people in the world. They don't impress me. I find it fascinating that because I'm quiet and looking at them, they think I want to hear about their bullshit. They don't ask anything about me. They don't ask about my interests. They don't ask about, do you like to go hiking? Do you like something that you like? What do you enjoy doing? Like, that's a human connection. And if you're not going to have a human connection, most of the time I just walk out. I'm just like, fuck you. You don't give a flying fuck about who I am. You think that I'm your free fucking counselor. That ain't happening. Or I'm set out with someone who is ugly or Asian or black, or I'm not dating them. I don't want kids like that. I don't want black kids. I don't want half Asian kids. I'm not interested. And people think that that's racist, but it's like, I literally am not interested in having children that I don't want to have. Like, I want white passing kids, but it's not a racial thing. It's I'm not interested in having children with someone who I'm not attracted to. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Like, it is so sick because there are so many women that go to these fucking speed dating things who are, fat. They have no values. They have an education, and there was this one girl. Oh my God, she was from Red Deer. And she was like, I'm going to go to a honky tonk and get pregnant. And she was like, she had an education, like, a nursing or something, not a great education, but, you know. And she was like, I'm just going to get knocked up and just raise my kid by myself. And I was like, why do you have no ethics? Why would you do that to someone and make sure that that child doesn't have a parent? Like, that's really, really a sick thing to do. But like, let's say 15 years ago, there were actually attractive women going to these things, women like me. And the men were dog shit. Like, they were coming off of fucking meth benders and coke benders, and like, they were just looking like dog shit. It was a lot more common to have a lot more big spending males in the trades 15 years ago. Because that's not how you make money now. You make money through, internet stupid things that are not really valuable, making apps and shit. So I think in general, the people that still stay here are, they're actually less scary in terms of like the drugs, and a lot less attractive. Like, the men are a lot less attractive. But it is still fascinating that most of the time, Brandon doesn't even ask me how my day was. He just launches into some bullshit about movies and about how he's going to make a lot of movies and movies, comic books, whatever. But it is defeatist. In his idea, there's like no connection to Cynthia as a human being. There's just, Cynthia listens to me about movies, and all I talk about is movies. I went to a drawing thing with some guy who, like, I had to block then because they actually said that the two cops who got shot on, I guess it was Wednesday or Thursday night, that they deserved to get shot because police are too aggressive. Police in Canada are not that aggressive. They really aren't. It's not like George Floyd. It's not like in the States. Some people can be aggressive. I think that there are some testosterone-laden assholes that work in the cops. Some people who think that they're going to catch bad guys, but that's not really that's not really what being a cop is. It's about finding the evidence and submitting that evidence to the Crown Prosecutor. Anyway, I went to this drawing thing, and literally for the first time in, I'm going to say, let's say 12 years, I went to have a conversation and people were actually talking normally around me. They weren't just talking about movies. They weren't just talking about money. They weren't just talking about being artists, but not having talent and not putting any effort in. And that was weird. But then it degraded into this wokist bullshit because for some reason artists here have to be wokists. And I can't stand it. Because if you say something like that people deserve to get murdered because they have a job that is perceived by delusional people as being extremely violent. Cops here are extremely nice. Like, they're really actually not super violent. Are they stupid sometimes? Yes. Yes, they are fucking stupid sometimes. Do cops not do their jobs because they are fucking stupid and can barely read? Yes. Sometimes yes. But they are not the knobs that you meet in, like, southern Utah. They're not the knobs that you meet in rural Idaho. Like, that's fucking violence. Like, anyway, I remember when Rachel and Renee, who were my supposed friends, were like, oh my God, you called the cops? Well, that's terrible. They walked into your home. No, I invited them into my home to explain why someone being stabbed and carved up with a switchblade during massage at CCATCM in Halifax at that stupid, terrible school is actually not okay. And they were like, what? That was allowed? Lucy Griffiths allowed that? She's the dean there. And Diana Tong Lee, who is terrible, she allowed that? And I was like, yeah, why would they ever discipline someone for carving up someone with a switchblade? because he did it to multiple people. And so these women, Rachel and Renee, were like, oh, well, I mean, you reported it for her? No, I reported it for me because he's probably going to stab someone else. That's not okay. Well, I mean, like, she had the right not to report it. Okay, but the school didn't have the right to hide it, right? And so they were all like, well, I mean, I can't believe that you could deal with the police. They're so scary. I was like, why? Why are they so scary? Like, literally, they act like human beings most of the time in Canada. I know that in the 90s they didn't. I know that in the 90s there were police that tried to make sure that I couldn't report being raped. I get that. I get that for a lot of people, especially from the 50s to about the 70s, that children were removed from homes by RCMP, especially within Native communities. I understand that they are literally just an arm of the military, arm of the government. And sometimes they're very militaristic and they're not commonsensical about what it's like to deal with an actual civilian. But the overinflation of fear that's based on watching television, I think that is really detrimental to a lot of people because it was really just really sad that they would expect me not to report Luke for stabbing people, and then be concerned that I spoke to police because that's so scary. I was like, what? Like, I can't even talk to you. You're so fucking delusional. So fucking delusional. Block them hard. Yeah, that is my life. My life is garbage. My life is shit. And it sucks, but I'm less angry and less racist about meeting nurses that didn't know the fucking word menstruation. How can you be a fucking RN and not know that? You need to go back to your country, your shithole country, and pretend to not be a nurse because you're not a nurse. You can't practice nursing if you don't know basic language of basic fucking things. Oh my god. Anyway, this has been some practicing. Not as much as I wanted, but I was working slowly. Yeah. I am very glad to be back in Edmonton with Brandon. As much as Brandon annoys me, because he literally doesn't ask me how my day is and just launches into stupid shit about movies and stupid shit about comic books, and I don't know. It's annoying. It's annoying having a friend who is obsessed with his job but doesn't really give a fuck about you most of the time. Yeah. I am sick. I am sick. I am dripping. I am disgusting. I am snotty. My eyes literally are so fucking swollen. I look like absolute fucking garbage. I am so glad to not be in Halifax. Holy fuck, did I hate that place. Edmonton is unsafe. Edmonton is grossly unsafe. Because, the liberal wokeists will give out drugs to drug addicts and give out drug use equipment to drug addicts to make it unsafe for normal people. I went up to Coliseum this week, and I was going to some kind of job fair, which was absolute fucking garbage. There were only trades jobs. There were only entry-level jobs. There was no no businesses there. There were small businesses that are struggling, businesses that aren't really known at all. And most of the people wouldn't even speak to me because they were looking for people that were 17, 19, who are naive enough to go into the field in an industry that literally is dying. But when I went there to Coliseum, there were 15 meth and crack addicts standing and using drugs. They were doing drugs at the top of the stairs before you get into where the expo is. And the security guard won't even go and talk to them because, they're all armed. They're all native. They all have knives on them and shivs or whatever the fuck it's called. And it's how is that safe? How is that making anything safe for the people who aren't using drugs? How do they have more rights to use drugs in public places to not die than I have to be safe and not get stabbed by one of them? Because they were fucking blocking the stairs, And then when I walked around them, I was like, I'm not even acknowledging you. You're not safe people. Why would I even say hello? I don't give a fuck. You want to do drugs in public places? You can die, because I'm not going to help you. You're fucking methed out and like in a coma, like having fucking like drug seizures. Cool. I'll watch it. Watch you die. Because I'm not going to get stabbed to death. It's just not happening. And the idea that like people, especially social workers and like libtards, lib-wokeists, who are like, oh well, I'm so surprised. There was a woman in Vancouver. I found it hilarious. It must have been in Surrey, because the woman that was interviewing her was native. Was East Indian, Sikh most likely. Anyway, she was like, the guy who had his stuff stolen by the drug addicts goes and tries to get his stuff back and then is killed. And that is him being a vigilante. I was like, what? What? You're so delusional. You're so motherfucking delusional. I have no sympathy for your drugs. I have no sympathy for people who kill people because you fucking stole stuff and someone goes to get their actual shit back from the drug addicts and then gets stabbed to death or murdered. I don't know how they murdered him, but yep. Nope, not safe. Not safe. Vancouver is so not safe. I really don't like living in Vancouver. It's just so many natives, so many homeless natives, and so many East Indians and Asians that are so grifty. Holy fucking hell. The drugs there. Oh. Mostly Chinese and mostly within the East Indian communities. Oh, gross people. And yet they own the buildings and then they like, oh, just such a gross grift. Life is such a grift. Is there anything that I talk about except for hating people? No, not really. I'm gonna go do some math homework for the next like 3 hours. Wait until my roommate comes home and then come back to work and sing. I literally can barely like speak because my throat is so itchy. I hate having a cat. But money necessitates having a roommate. So yeah. Cynthia Ganga soprano. Cynthia sings classical. Edmonton is a shitty place to live and I need to relocate. Definitely not to somewhere more ghetto. Yeah. So, and I have like 2 friends, like 2 authentic people that actually have logic and emotional care and not just like fucking nonsense. Am I good? I'm actually a lot better than I was a month and a half ago when I got out of the psych ward for being told that I'm insane because I have rectal tearing and rectal bleeding. And that's good. So, Cynthia Ganga soprano, Cynthia sings classical. I am sick as I'm allergic as a fucking dog to this stupid cat. I hope that everybody has a good day. I'm going to come back and practice some voice in a little bit. Have a good day.